All right, time has come. New segment. Gather around the campfire here. It's the first edition of Flashback Friday and a blast from the past. And before I start, I got to preface where I kind of got this idea from, Reg, because I was sitting down, really getting back into the NBA again this season. And I'm watching the playoffs a few weeks ago, and my jaw's on the floor because it was the first time I really sat down and put all my focus on Luka Doncic for all four quarters. And I was just blown away at this guy. He can do literally everything. And I know, late to the party, dude. Where you been? We've known this for a while. But it just got me thinking as I'm watching him just have total control of the game about some of the best NBA players of all time that revolutionized the game. Guys from previous eras who really changed the game. And I start to do my research. Of course, you pull up all the all-time greats. Jordan, LeBron, Chamberlain, Dr. J, Kobe, etc. Kind of a two-man race, though, for the top spot with MJ and LeBron for sure. But the more research I did, I realized there's another guy that when it comes to the all-time GOAT conversations, you just don't hear his name mentioned with the big two just as much. And it really has nothing to do with talent, but strictly only because his career was cut short. Had he had the same longevity as the others, he would have to be talked about much more as the best of all time. So let me set the stage. The year's 1979, and with the first overall pick, the Los Angeles Lakers select a point guard from Michigan State, Irvin Johnson Jr., a.k.a. Magic. Now,
the Magic Man.
First overall pick, of course, Reggie, a lot of hype. But this was not like any other rookie the league had seen before. The minute he stepped on the court, he revolutionized the game. Now, he comes out the gate hot, number one overall pick, coming off a national championship with the Spartans over Larry Bird and Indiana State. And by the way, quick side note, you can't bring up Magic without bringing up Larry Bird, and one of, if not the most heated rivalry there's ever been in the NBA.
Yep.
But we'll get into that another day. But fast forward, it's now the finals against who else? Dr. J, Big George McGinnis, Daryl Dawkins, a.k.a. Chocolate Thunder, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Tall task for anyone. It's Game 6. Lakers are up 3-2, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is out with an ankle injury. Guy didn't even make the flight. He's back at home on the couch in L.A. watching on TV. Now, Kareem was the MVP of the league that year, so this hurts big time. 3-2 lead heading into Philly, no Kareem. Paul Westhead, the coach of the Lakers, who was an excellent player of his own right, by the way, Hall of Famer, as was the opposing coach, Billy Cunningham of the 76ers. But what does he do with Kareem out at center? Is he going to throw some hack in there, some backup center, some guy off the bench? No. He decides to start Magic, a point guard, at the center position because he knew at the time what a lot of people didn't yet, that Magic was a true 5-position player. The first of its kind at that time. Nobody that I know, even in today's age, except LeBron, of course, could do what Magic did, where you'd get all-star level production at any and all 5 positions you plugged him into. So Magic gets told before the game he's filling in for Kareem at center in Game 6, NBA Finals. Reggie, Magic's 20 years old at the time. We talk about how amazing it is. Anthony Edwards is so young and the things he's doing. Imagine him filling in for the MVP in the finals at 20 years old. What does he do? Oh, just goes off for 42 points, 15 boards, and 7 assists at the center position.
Yep.
Thanks to Magic, Lakers go on, win Game 6 without Kareem. That was just the beginning. Went on to help the Lakers win not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 championships in the 80s. Played in the finals 9 times, won the MVP 3 times, 12-time All-Star, led the league in assists 4 times. He leads the NBA in assists per game still to this day with 11.2. And had his career not been cut short, I truly believe he, and not John Stockton, would be the NBA's all-time leader in assists. And I think if you were to ask people from that era that got to watch and see Magic play because of the way he kind of revolutionized and changed the game as we know it, there's got to be a strong case to be made. He did more for his team and more for the NBA than any other player, at least at his time. Now, certainly, when you're mentioning the best of the best, you've also got to mention the Wilt Chamberlains and the Dr. J's too. But Magic was truly the most valuable player to his team, more than any other player of the decade and maybe ever. He could play in the paint, deep with the big, slash like a wingman, play outside on the boundary or wing. And he was the best at point guard, as we know, distributing, scoring, dictating the flow of the game. So all these lists come out every year, right? Top 100, all you ever see, MJ, of course, 6 rings, a dynasty of his own with the Bulls, of course, not downplaying that by any means. But if you look at Magic's career, starting with his rookie year and what he did in Game 6 versus Wilt Chamberlain as a 20-year-old, and the long list of accolades he added to his resume, it's hard not to put him in the discussion when you realized how he changed the game forever once he stepped on the court, because he wasn't just a point guard, he was everything. And at that time, that just simply had not been done. And still to this day, again, I think the only other player to control the game at all 5 positions is LeBron himself. So to the people watching, listening, that got to see Magic in his prime, the elderly statesman from that era, if you will, I want to know, hit us up on Twitter or YouTube in the comments. Let us know who you think was the greatest to do it. And if you got to see Magic play, what was it like? How impactful was he to the NBA at the time? Should he be in discussion as the NBA's greatest player of all time after he did things that had never been done in the NBA court and changed the game in just a fashion and magnitude we just hadn't seen before? And career, of course, was cut short after 12 seasons. And because of that, I think gets tossed to the side a little bit quicker when talking about players who revolutionized the game the most. But yeah, hit us up on Twitter at LockedOnMIN, or throw us your vote on YouTube in the comments section. Who knows, Reggie? Maybe we get a little, stir up a little healthy debate here. Here's some hot takes from generations before us that was able to witness the greatness of Magic and the Lakers in the 80s. But Reggie, that's a blast from the past on our new Flashback Friday. Lot to absorb. I've given you a lot here. Take a moment if you need one. But what's your thoughts on Magic and his place in NBA history? You're a big NBA, big basketball guy. Greatest player to ever see in person for me was Kobe Bryant. And he, like the other names I just mentioned, on another level. You just knew the moment he took the ball how much control he had of the game. Much like Magic, Wilt, and Jordan, where are you, with Magic ranking among the best? And also, side note, who was the best player you ever saw live? Who's the best player you saw in person in the NBA?
The best player I ever saw in person, probably Kevin Durant.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw Kevin Durant in person against the Lakers. So I'm a Lakers guy.
Yep.
All right, that's my team. My
So I'm
dad
preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, my dad kind of put that on me before he passed. Like that.
Love that.
That's my team.
Love that, Reggie.
I am a huge Kobe Bryant fan, and Kobe Bryant's last season, I got a chance to go to Oklahoma City to see the Thunder play the Lakers. Now, Kobe only played maybe like 13 minutes because, that season he was on an extreme minutes restriction. And, he played about 12, 13 minutes and then big old ice packs on both shoulders.
Right, I remember that.
And on the knees, like he's chilling. And so I was able to capture a couple Kobe Bryant shots making it. So like he's the best player I ever saw in person, but that was at the end. So I didn't see the greatness that was Kobe Bryant's peak in person.
Prime Kobe, right.
But I did see prime Kevin Durant in person, and they cooked the Lakers. Him and Russell Westbrook, I think Durant had something like 30 plus points that night. So that was incredible. Now, where I will say about Magic is I don't know if people underrate him or anything like that, but I do think that, because there are so many people who have come after Magic who are a little bit more specialized in shooting than Magic was, I think maybe that's where sometimes Magic gets overtaken. But like Magic was flash. The league had never seen anything like Magic before. Like he's coming out there, he's behind his back through the legs with it, passes like he, and all this good stuff. Like people hadn't seen that. And before, I don't know if you got a chance to watch Winning Time on HBO, but fantastic series.
I'm about halfway through it. Absolutely love it.
Fantastic series.
Yeah, it's great.
And that really kind of shows you the impact that Magic had. But I think there were a lot of people who looked at Magic like he was like disrespecting the game or something like that because of some of his antics. But that was just how he played basketball. Basketball gave him joy. He was out there just having fun out there. and he just happened to be more skilled than most people that he was taking on, outside of like a Larry Bird or something like that. And he
Right.
had the grit, and he had the fire, the competitive nature. Like, he wanted to beat everybody. He never wanted to lose. And that was on display. That fueled him. And when you talk about the NBA greatest, you have to put Magic in there because he revolutionized the point guard position. 6'9" point guard. Like, he walked so LeBron could run.
Mm,
That's really all there is to it.
mm.
And LeBron will give Magic his due and his reverence whenever he talks about him as well. And now LeBron plays on that same team, does some of the cool, flashy things that Magic used to do. And it's just funny because, like I said, there's such a premium now on shooting and all that. And Magic really wasn't that much of a shooter. Like, he could score, but he wasn't a guy that was going to stretch the floor much. He wasn't a guy that, just come down, give you, Jay,
Mhm.
pure shooter, all
Mhm.
this type of stuff like you see from like the Steph Currys and the Jason Tatums and the Damian Lillards of the world, the Klay Thompsons of the world. Like, he wasn't going to do that, but he was going to find a way to get you a bucket, and he was going to find a way to put the ball in a playmaker's hands so they could easily get a bucket. And the league hadn't seen a player like that before, and now it's just so commonplace for these guys to be so skilled. But Magic was the gold standard, and he walked so a lot of these players who do, he walked so guys like Draymond Green could
Mm,
run.
mm.
Draymond Green is a
Yes.
6'9", point forward, however you
Mhm.
want to call him. You know, people hadn't seen people do what Magic had done before, and he was the man. Like, he was Magic out there on the floor, simply put.
Very well said, Reggie. And again, I'm just getting back into the NBA a lot more here this year. It's nice to be able to chat with somebody who's so well diverse in the NBA and has a rich history of the Lakers, because I'm sitting there watching Luka. I start to think about the past and the greats before him that kind of revolutionized the game. I do some research. I'm sitting here thinking, am I crazy or what? I mean, I know he gets talked about, in the discussion, but maybe he should be talked about even more than he has been. So great to get a little, just a tidbit, a taste of how good Magic was and what he did for the Lakers in the 80s and what he did for the game itself. I was watching PTI yesterday with Kornheiser and Wilbon, and they were talking about Game 6 of the 80 finals. And in the closing minutes to seal the game and win the championship for the Lakers, Magic put up a little rainbow hook shot over
Mm-hmm.
Kevin McHale and Larry Bird. And
Word to Kareem.
yeah, and Wilbon called it the greatest shot in NBA history, best shot of all time. So, yeah, again, I'm just really curious. Maybe we can get some good old-fashioned debate stirred up here, maybe on Twitter, on YouTube. Get the people from that era and generation talking about, again, how impactful he was to the NBA. Again, that's on Twitter, @LockedOnMIN, or reply in the comments section on our YouTube page. Looking forward to hearing some feedback from our first edition of Flashback Friday with the little blast from the past with Magic Johnson.